Ladies and gentlemen, I bring neither soft assurances nor comforting delusions. Instead, I bring you truth. Stern, unsentimental, yet strangely liberating. We live in an age where many wait. Some wait for a miracle, some for a leader, and others for the tide of fortune to turn in their favor. They wait, and they hope, and they sigh, whispering to the heavens, "Surely someone will come to set things right." But let me tell you a hard truth. Nobody is coming to save you. Not the government, nor the wise and learned, nor some far-off rescuer whose only delay is the wind's reluctance to carry him here. Not even your past self, the one who made all those fine promises about tomorrow. If you are lost, it is you who must find the path. If you are weak, it is you who must master courage. And if you are waiting, then let me tell you plainly, you are wasting time. Now, do not mistake me, this is no call to despair, quite the opposite. The sooner you accept this truth, the freer you become. For if no one is coming, then the only hands that can shape your fate are your own. This is the moment when the dreamer awakens, when the passive man stands, when the frightened soul clenches its fists and says, "Then let it be me." Your life, your work, your mind, your soul. It is your burden, but also your glory. No one will walk this road for you, but if you choose to walk it, you will find something remarkable. You will find that strength does not come to those who wait, but to those who move. Do not wait. Do not hope for a hero. Instead, become the kind of person who needs no rescuing. Many of us, whether we admit it or not, live with an unspoken belief that somewhere out there, someone will come along to fix things. It is a thought so deeply ingrained that we hardly recognize it. As children, we looked to our parents to make the world right. As students, we waited for teachers to reveal wisdom without effort on our part. As adults, we transfer this expectation to governments, institutions, experts, or fate itself. We assume that if we are in trouble long enough, the natural order of things will send help. This is a comforting lie, but a lie nonetheless. History and experience should have taught us otherwise. The world is not arranged so neatly. Those who wait for rescue often wait forever. The man who sits in darkness hoping for the light to reach him will remain there unless he strikes a flame himself. The woman who expects life to recognize her suffering and extend a hand will soon realize that life is indifferent. We are not in a story where the hero arrives just in time. We are in reality, where help may never come at all. This illusion of rescue manifests in many ways. Some believe that if they suffer enough, someone will notice. They think their pain alone is enough to summon aid, as if the universe operates on a scale of fairness where misfortune must be balanced by salvation. But hardship is not a signal flare, it is simply hardship. The idea that someone must come to correct it is a trick of the mind, a refusal to accept that suffering is often met with silence. Others place their hopes in distant figures of authority. They trust that leaders, thinkers, or institutions will intervene on their behalf, sparing them from the difficult work of changing their own lives. They vote, they sign petitions, they wait for laws to be passed, believing that their salvation will come in the form of external action. But no ruler, no movement, no policy will ever replace the necessity of personal effort. Even when great leaders arise, they do not lift the weight from the shoulders of those who refuse to stand. There is also the illusion of the future self. Many believe that though they struggle today, their future self, a wiser, stronger, more disciplined version of them, will eventually take charge. This is a particularly deceptive form of the rescue fantasy because it feels rational. I may not be able to act now, they tell themselves, but surely in time I will be ready. Yet, without action in the present, this mythical future self will never exist. The person you hope will one day save you is the same person making excuses now. The truth, difficult as it may be, is that there is no cavalry coming over the hill. There is no wise stranger arriving with just the right words. There is no grand turning point where life suddenly aligns in your favor. There is only you, and the sooner you grasp this, the sooner you can begin to live. Self-reliance is both a burden and a liberation. It is the realization that no one is responsible for your life except you. At first, this seems overwhelming. To accept that no one is coming to fix your problems, that no unseen force is orchestrating events in your favor, feels like stepping onto uncertain ground. It is far easier to believe that circumstances are to blame, that fate is unkind, or that the right person simply has not yet appeared. But self-reliance strips away these illusions and leaves behind something far more valuable: control. When you embrace self-reliance, you stop waiting. You stop waiting for motivation, for the right timing, for someone to give you permission. You stop seeking validation before you act. You see that the only way forward is by your own effort, and in that, you find a kind of power that no external help could ever provide. Dependency breeds hesitation. Self-reliance breeds action. The moment you decide that your life is your responsibility alone, hesitation fades, replaced by urgency. This is not to say that the path is easy. Self-reliance means carrying your own failures as well as your successes. It means looking at the areas where you fall short and admitting that the only person who can change them is you. It is a sobering thought. There is no shifting blame to bad luck, to difficult circumstances, to other people's failures. If you are weak, it is your duty to become strong. If you are ignorant, it is your duty to learn. If you are failing, it is your duty to correct course. At first, self-reliance may feel lonely. It means no longer expecting others to bear your burdens or to rescue you from difficulty. Many people shrink from this idea because they believe they are not capable of standing alone. But what they do not realize is that self-reliance is not about rejecting others. It is about making sure you are strong enough that you do not need to rely on them, and in doing so, you actually become more capable of forming meaningful relationships, because you approach others not as a burden, but as an equal. There is a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you can rely on yourself. You stop fearing the unknown because you trust that whatever comes, you will face it. You stop fearing failure because you know you will get up again. You stop fearing abandonment because you are not waiting to be saved. The world belongs to those who take responsibility for their place in it. Every great achievement, every act of courage, every meaningful change comes from those who refused to sit idly by, hoping for someone else to take the first step. There is a certain freedom in knowing that your life is yours to shape. No one else will build it for you. No one else will make you into what you wish to be. The only question is whether you will rise to the task or not. Waiting is a silent thief. It takes without asking, drains without notice, and leaves behind nothing but regret. Yet so many people spend their lives in this passive state, believing that time itself will bring change, that circumstances will shift, that at some unspecified point in the future, everything will fall into place. They sit with their unfulfilled dreams, their unmade decisions, their half-hearted plans, convincing themselves that tomorrow will be different. But tomorrow arrives and they are still waiting. There is always a reason to delay. Fear of failure, fear of effort, fear of stepping into the unknown. Each disguises itself as a rational excuse. People tell themselves they need more knowledge, more money, more confidence, more approval. They tell themselves that the conditions are not quite right, that something beyond their control must first align before they can act. But the truth is, conditions are never perfect, and those who wait for certainty will spend their entire lives in hesitation. Some people wait because they believe that the right opportunity will eventually find them. They imagine that success, love, happiness, or purpose will arrive like a guest at the door, knocking at the precise moment they feel ready to receive it. But life does not work this way. Opportunity does not seek the idle. It reveals itself only to those who are already moving. The person who waits for the perfect moment will find, in the end, that the only thing that came and went was time itself. Others wait because they believe they must first be free of doubt. They imagine that those who take bold action do so with absolute certainty, free from fear or hesitation. But the truth is, no one ever truly feels ready. Every great achievement, every step towards something meaningful, begins with uncertainty. The difference between those who succeed and those who do not is not a lack of fear, but a refusal to let fear dictate their choices. Those who act despite doubt are the ones who move forward. Those who wait for assurance remain in place. Time does not stop while you hesitate. The days you spend waiting are not neutral. They are lost forever. The things you could have built, the skills you could have gained, the strength you could have developed, all of these slip away as you remain motionless. The tragedy is not just in what is lost, but in what could have been. The harsh truth is that there is no reward for waiting. No unseen force will step in to compensate for lost time. No grand moment will arrive to make up for the years spent in hesitation. There is only now, this moment, this choice, this step. Those who understand this take action, while those who do not are left with nothing but memories of what they could have done. The cost of waiting is not measured in minutes or years, it is measured in a life that was never truly lived. Strength is not given, it is built. It is not something that arrives in a moment of need, but something that is forged long before the moment ever comes. Yet, many people move through life hoping they will somehow become strong when the situation demands it. They believe that in the face of hardship, courage will suddenly appear, discipline will take root, and endurance will manifest as if summoned by necessity. But strength does not work this way. It is not a gift, nor is it an accident. It is a choice, and it must be cultivated deliberately. Weakness is the natural state of those who do not choose strength. It takes no effort to remain weak, to let fear rule, to shrink from difficulty, to surrender at the first sign of resistance. It is easy to seek comfort, to avoid pain, to live cautiously in the hope that suffering will never find you. But suffering is not something that can be avoided forever. It comes for all, and when it does, those who have not trained themselves to endure it will break beneath its weight. Strength is not the absence of struggle, it is the ability to withstand it. Those who fail to prepare for hardship will find themselves powerless when it arrives. Strength is not merely physical, it is of the mind and soul. It is the ability to stand firm when others waver, to persist when the world tells you to quit, to face fear without surrendering to it. It is the quiet resolve to take another step when every part of you begs to stop. It is not dramatic, nor is it loud. Strength is often silent, hidden beneath the surface, unnoticed until the moment it is required. Those who possess it do not boast, for they have no need. Their actions speak where words cannot. To become strong, one must embrace difficulty rather than avoid it. The mind grows sharper through challenge, the body hardens through strain, and the spirit deepens through suffering. Each trial endured is a lesson learned, each hardship overcome is a foundation laid. Those who seek an easy path will find themselves unprepared when the road turns rough. But those who choose to struggle, to endure, to persist, they will find that with every hardship they become something more than they were before. Fear tells us to avoid pain, to retreat, to seek refuge in safety. But safety is an illusion, and avoidance is a slow decay. The only true security lies in the strength to face whatever comes. No one is immune to pain, but those who train themselves to bear it will not be broken by it. Life will test all who live it, and those who answer the call to strength will stand where others fall. They will not wait for rescue, nor will they hope for mercy. They will face the storm, and when it passes, they will remain, not because they were spared, but because they endured. Responsibility is a weight that many spend their lives avoiding, yet it is also the key to freedom. It is far easier to believe that life's difficulties are someone else's fault, that circumstances, fate, or the failures of others are to blame for where we stand. It is a comfortable lie, allowing one to remain passive, excused from effort, and justified in inaction. But to live in this state is to remain a prisoner, bound not by external forces but by one's own refusal to take ownership of life. True freedom begins the moment a person awakens to the reality that no one else is responsible for their success, their failures, or their future. Taking responsibility is not about taking blame, it is about taking control. So long as a person believes their struggles are the fault of something outside themselves, they give away their power to change their own situation. They become dependent on external forces to improve, waiting for conditions to change, for someone to offer help, for luck to turn in their favor. But waiting is a form of surrender. The person who takes responsibility refuses to be at the mercy of the world. They recognize that while they may not control everything that happens to them, they always control how they respond. Responsibility is uncomfortable because it forces a person to confront hard truths. It requires admitting that much of their life is a product of their own choices, that their failures are often the result of their own actions or inactions. It strips away excuses and leaves behind only one reality. If they want something to change, they must change it themselves. This realization is painful, but it is also the beginning of real power. Many fear responsibility because it means there is no one left to blame, but the very thing they fear is what gives them strength. To accept responsibility is to say, If I am in a difficult place, I have the ability to climb out of it. If I am not who I wish to be, I have the power to become something more. There is no waiting for permission, no reliance on the actions of others. There is only the decision to act, to take ownership, and to move forward with purpose. People often dream of better lives, but they do not always connect those dreams to the work required to achieve them. They wish for success, but they avoid the effort. They long for meaning, but they fear the sacrifice. They hope for strength, but they reject struggle. Responsibility demands that they see the truth. Nothing of value is ever gained without effort, and no one will do the work for them. The moment a person embraces this, they stop feeling powerless. The circumstances of their past no longer define them. Their future is no longer a matter of chance. They have taken hold of their own life, and in doing so, they have taken the first step toward becoming who they were meant to be. The hero's journey is not what most imagine it to be. It is not a tale of destiny where the right path is laid out in clear steps, nor is it a story where salvation arrives from beyond. There is no guiding hand to push the hero forward, no promise of success, no assurance of survival. The true hero's journey begins not with grand purpose, but with the realization that no one is coming to save them. They must stand, not because they are ready, but because there is no other choice. At the heart of every real transformation is struggle. The hero does not become strong by avoiding hardship, but by stepping into it. They do not wait until they are fearless, for courage is not the absence of fear, but the will to act despite it. They do not wait for permission, for there is no one to grant it. They do not wait for the right moment, because no such moment exists. What separates the hero from the rest is not the lack of doubt, failure, or fear. It is their refusal to let these things define them. Many never begin their journey at all because they expect the world to recognize their potential and call them forward. They imagine that if they were truly meant for greatness, the path would open before them, the signs would be clear, and help would arrive at the right time. But the true hero knows that the only call they will ever receive is the one they give themselves. They step forward not because they are chosen, but because they choose themselves. The road is lonely. The hero will meet those who tell them to turn back, who mock their efforts, who remind them of the risks and warn of failure. Some will try to dissuade them out of fear, others out of envy, and worst of all, there will be moments when even the hero doubts themselves. When exhaustion sets in, when obstacles seem insurmountable, when every voice, internal and external, whispers that the struggle is pointless, that surrender would be easier. Many turn back at this point, but the true hero pushes forward, knowing that the pain of regret is far worse than the pain of effort. There is no guarantee of victory. Many believe that if they endure long enough, life will reward them, that effort must always lead to success, but the hero understands a deeper truth. Strength is not found in the reward, but in the journey itself. They do not fight because they are promised triumph. They fight because they refuse to be less than they could be. The world does not create heroes. It does not grant them special gifts or ensure their survival. The world merely presents challenges, and those who rise to meet them, who refuse to surrender, who take full responsibility for their path, these are the ones who become something more. Not because they were destined, but because they refused to wait for destiny